Welcome to episode 15 of In His Bag. Fun episode planned. Got some interesting news, but not a crazy amount of stuff. UFC 328 this weekend. We'll be talking about that. So let's just jump straight into it. Cue the intro music in 3, 2, 1.
Tedeschi dentro sotto per Dybala, attenzione, va la gioia Dybala! Oh God, Stokely down the sideline, can they catch him? Stokely, wow!
They do have a timeout, decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown, bang, bang!
So, yeah, I mentioned that some stuff has happened, but not too much. Then obviously UFC 328 this weekend. I'm gonna be doing all of my predictions, all of my stuff related to that, and then got our main topic and game time to wrap everything up. So let's get right into the news. Starting off the news, this happened literally like 5 minutes before I started recording. The Jets and Brees Hall agreed to a 3-year, $45.75 million deal. And now the Jets have their running back of the future. They've actually secured a playmaker on the offensive side of the ball for once, which is a bit of a miracle overall. I didn't think that they would be able to do this, considering the fact that they've kind of been going on a fire sale. But then again, Brees Hall is one of the only bright spots on their offense apart from Garrett Wilson. I think that obviously I've seen some stuff that maybe the Jets will want to kind of go on, well, not go, but do horribly this year and then kind of just tear it down to the studs, fire the coach. They have Geno Smith on a 1-year rental and then get like a top pick next year, get like Dante Moore or something, fresh new coach, bring in coach and quarterback in the same year, have Sadiq kind of develop this year, have Omar Cooper Jr. develop this year, and then just start from scratch next year. But I don't think that's going to be happening now that they've kind of secured Brees for the future and just decided that he is going to be the piece for them that kind of is their mainstay on offense, but it's not like life altering. Last year he put up 1,065 yards and 4 touchdowns, which isn't like, it's not life altering. It's not something that kind of blows your mind away. I think it definitely can be a lot better, but it could also be it could be a lot worse. So overall, I think it's a very solid move for the Jets. I'm just not exactly sure what their plan is. If you watched my draft grades episode a couple weeks ago, I said that I wasn't the biggest fan of them picking David Bailey over Arvell Reese. So I'm not really sure what exactly their plan is for the team overall going into the season. But a lot of things could change. So Jets have a running back now for next 3 years. After that, no more deals have been done, but players have moved on. And one of them is Kenny Moore, the second. The Colts granted him his request for a release, and this comes after he requested a trade from the Colts. I think it was roughly a month ago he requested that trade, trying to just move on to greener pastures after it was kind of clear that he wasn't going to be a key piece for the Colts in their secondary after, especially after they traded for Sauce Gardner and all of the other moves that they made last year to kind of prioritize him as or prioritize Sauce and other players over him. So this he spent 9 seasons with the Colts, and during that time he has put up 649 tackles, 21 interceptions, 6 forced fumbles. So he's extremely productive. He's a guy that even last year it was kind of a down year for him. He still had an interception, 2 forced fumbles, sack and a half, 6 PBUs. Like he's a productive guy. So the fact that the Colts weren't able to work out a trade kind of makes sense, but also it doesn't. I feel like they could have saved him for the. Or no, it does make sense because if they didn't trade him before June 1st, they would have to take on the entirety of his 10 million um, base salary. And if they did trade him before June 1st, I think they would have saved them like 7 million. So it kind of makes sense that they wanted to move on from him. If like now that they traded him, it's clear that they weren't getting any. I don't know if there weren't any suitors, but there weren't any deals that the Colts felt were good enough for them. So they decided to move on from him. And after that, I kind of got my players scrambled here. I said that there weren't any more signings. I was wrong. Jawan Jennings signed a 1-year deal with the Vikings. It's worth up to 13 million, and this gives the Vikings a nice wide receiver 3 behind JJ and Jordan Addison. It also gives Kevin O'Connell another weapon to provide for Kyler Murray, because God knows Kyler Murray needs all the weapons in the world to just be functional in all capacities. So he he missed most of training camp with the 49ers with, I believe it was a hamstring issue. But then when he came back, he was productive for them during the season. He was their main wide receiver the entirety of the season with the whole Brandon Ayuk issue, contract negotiation, going MIA. Nobody knows what the heck is happening to Brandon Ayuk. That's a whole can of worms for another day. But he was their primary receiver apart from George Kittle, he's George Kittle. He's a whole different beast. But yeah, the Vikings now giving their offense more weapons is something that I really like for them. It's a very solid move and something that really elevates them to the next level. Like last year, they had kind of a down year because of their quarterback situation. They didn't really know what to do there. But now they've got Kyler, who he can move around. He can deliver a deep ball, which is perfect considering the weapons that they now have. That wide receiver trio is extremely good at providing everything that Kyler needs in terms of deep ball threat and all of those things. So now I do believe that they have a chance of potentially going and challenging. I I have the Bears as the NFC North favorites, maybe challenging the Bears for that title of the NFC North, going back to what they were like 2 years ago with Sam Darnold when they were like 14-3. So this is a very solid move for the Vikings. I like this a lot. It also raises the question of the 49ers and what the heck they're going to do with their wide receiver room in that whole situation because they don't really have any receivers. Ricky Pearsall hasn't exactly lived up to the first round pick that he was given. They reached on a wide receiver this year in the second round. I'm completely forgetting his name at like pick 36, I believe it was. So they don't really have a wide receiver anymore at this point, which is kind of weird. But it feels like the 49ers are putting essentially all of their faith in Kyle Shanahan's ability to just cook up the most absurd offense in the offseason and sacrifice like 10 years of his life to produce another winning season and another season where the 49ers are somehow battling for the one seed in the NFC. Then, final piece of NFL news. The schedule release is on Thursday, 6 days away. Um, I'm looking forward to this. I really, really enjoy the schedule release, seeing what exactly things are going to look like and who's playing who. It also gives me a nice idea of what games I should watch, also when the stinkers are on, so I can focus on some of the other games. If basketball hasn't started, focus also on soccer, things like that. But schedule release is coming up next week, so stay tuned for that. And I also like this just because of the release videos from the team. They are always super fun to watch. Fun stories. Uh, One time, the one of the people who created the Patriots release schedule release video, the Good Jules Hunting release video from I think it was last season or 2 seasons ago, came and spoke to my class just about everything that went into that. So it's always really interesting to see what the schedule release videos are like. And that is also another reason that I am really looking forward to this next Thursday. And then after that, things got weird. Well, first of all, we're done with the NFL. We're transitioning over to soccer now. But things got kind of weird. Real. Joao Meni and Valverde got into a fight, and according to reports, it was bad. Apparently, Valverde is hospitalized or was. They found him like semi-conscious in the locker room or something after the fight, and now they're both slated to miss El Clásico against Barcelona, which you're not really in a position to have two of your guys. Like, Valverde is your captain. You're not really in a good position to have your captain missing El Clásico when you desperately, desperately need those points against Barcelona. Um, so it was weird. They're being fined a total of 1 million by Real, 50K each, but there's been arguments going on within the Real Madrid locker room, and it's just weird. I feel like a lot of these arguments they do happen. That's not that's not a big secret to anyone. These locker room arguments happen all the time. But normally they happen behind closed doors. Normally there's not reporting about it to this degree. Normally you don't see it being all over Twitter. You don't see Fabrizio Romano tweeting and breaking news about it. But I guess it also comes with the territory when one of the players pretty much hospitalizes the other. So it's a weird situation. This also reminds me of something that happened. that I saw, it was honestly, it might have been like 4 or 5 months ago when I was going through my feed. I saw a thing about Real Madrid. It was right after they fired Xabi Alonso and brought in their new head coach that um, Alonso wasn't able to. He has all the tactics in the world, but he's not able to manage the egos, which is something that Zidane was able to do when you look at the players that he had: Modric, Cruz, Ronaldo, Bale, Benzema, all of those guys, Ramos. He was able to manage the egos, and you didn't really see any, you didn't hear about any like fights or things like that with the Real team. But now that you had first Xabi Alonso and now their coach right now, whose name I am completely blanking on. They're not really able to manage those egos effectively like Zidane was. So you get these fights like this that are detrimental to the team, detrimental to their La Liga title hopes. Because this honestly could potentially be a season. I know. What's his name? Their president after their Champions League exit, he made a whole big deal about a season without a title is a disgrace for Real. If they lose this Clásico, there is a extremely real possibility that his words come true, that they don't win a single title this year, which is absurd for Real Madrid standards. But that's enough of Real Madrid. We'll go to their cross city rivals who were actually in the Champions League semifinals. Atletico Madrid lost 1-0 to Arsenal. And so Arsenal has the chance to play for their very first Champions League title in Budapest in, I believe it now is 22 days away. If I'm not mistaken, it is May 8th. Final is on May 30th, so 22 days away. But this game, I watched the whole thing. Arsenal more or less dominated, for me, dominated the entire game from front to back, even though the statistics say they only had 53.4% possession compared to 46 for Atletico. Um, they just looked like the more composed team. They created the more dangerous chances to me watching this. Um, and like Declan Rice was all over the pitch. I low key might have to move him up considering the tier list that I had him in last week. But Atletico didn't look threatening at all in this match. They just were relatively underwhelming, weren't able to create a really dangerous chance ch- that challenged Raya in any way. And yeah, now they have a chance to fight for the first Champions League title. And Atletico Madrid, Antoine Griezmann, this sucks, dude. He is now leaving Atletico without having won a Champions League, La Liga. I don't think he's won a major title with them, which that sucks, dude. It also sucks considering the fact that the one season that Atletico did win, he was at Barcelona. So yeah, Atletico Madrid are now out of the Champions League. They, I believe, are still fourth in or third in La Liga, but there's still a giant gap between them and them and Real sitting at second. And then the other semifinal was Bayern and PSG, and I gotta say, it wasn't the jaw-dropping thriller that we all thought it would be coming off of the 5-4 first leg. It turned out to be a 1-1 affair that went on it it was only 1-1 because Kane scored in the 94th minute and Dembele opened scoring in the third minute. It probably could have been like 2-0, considering the massive chance that Caravicelia missed when he just took apart that Bayern back line. And also, Bayern just weren't able to go on the offensive. They weren't able to generate any sort of offense. Like, I'm sure a lot of you by now have heard the tactics that Mourinho used. Or, no, not Mourinho. I'm thinking about him going and how Real. Oh, that's another piece of news that I'll talk about maybe after this, Real and Mourinho. But no, that Luis Enrique told his goalie, Safanov, to kick it on every goal kick it far and out of bounds to the goalie's right, which is Olise's side of the field. That way, Olise is not Olise and Byron are not able to gain momentum and go on a swift counterattack, which is arguably were the most dangerous. And it worked to a charm. Bayern weren't able to really create any attacks. Their front three of Olise, Kane, and Luis Diaz were relatively silent the entire time. Weren't able to create any true chances, and it was kind of underwhelming. But it was also a defensive masterclass by PSG, and for me, they are the best team in the world right now, by far, bar none. None of their or I won't say none of their players, but the majority of their key players aren't even close to 28 years old. They have all the talent in the world right now. They have top level players. Dembele won the Ballon d'Or last year. I have Kvaratskhelia as a top three player in the world right now. Vitinha is a top midfielder in the world right now. Marquinhos is still playing at an extremely high level. You have Due as well. You have João Neves. You have Nuno Mendes. You have all of these guys who are just able to produce at an insane level. And for me, I think they are gonna make easy money of Arsenal. I think some people definitely disagree with me. Some people want Arsenal to win the first Champions League. But I think PSG right now is setting up to be a dynasty, or quote unquote dynasty, for the next couple of years, just with all the talent that they have in essentially every position on the field. Like Bacho, their center back, I had never heard of him before, but watching this game, like he stood out. He was just able to shut down everything that Harry Kane tried to do, just took complete control over that back line. And so PSG is just absolutely an amazing squad from top to bottom. And they proved it against Bayern in this game. And I mentioned Mourinho, so it kind of just hit me now. Mourinho and Jose Mourinho and Real Madrid are in talks to bring back Mourinho as the Real coach. He was their coach back in the early 2010s, I believe it was. And so they are trying to bring him back. Maybe he is able to, I mentioned, manage the egos. I think that he has a much better chance of doing that considering the players that he had to coach when he was there. But I think Porto is trying to do whatever they can to keep him, even though they are fully aware that the talks are going down. I think that ultimately Mourinho will go to Real. It's just a better job than the one that he has now. But you can't knock him for taking it. Because, like, if we're being honest here, Real is probably the most glamorous job in the world when it comes to coaching, apart from maybe like the Brazilian national team. So, yeah. But that's enough of soccer. It's UFC 328 this weekend. Hamzat versus Strickland for the middleweight title. Uh, they both made weight, and to say that there were some sparks during the weigh-in would be an understatement. Um, these two guys clearly don't like each other, and I'm here for all of it. Um, and when you look at their styles, obviously Hobbs, best wrestler of the UFC by far. I don't think it's even close. I don't think there is a close second. Like, you see his takedown average, it's 5.2 per fight, and it's only 5.2, 5.3 because he takes you down at the start of the round and he keeps you down. So he only needs five, one for every round. But Sean Strickland has very good takedown defense, which is extremely weird considering the fact that he's stands like straight up. Normally, when you want to defend takedowns, you're in your wrestling stance. You're like crouched down like that instead of being vertical. But his takedown defense is phenomenal. Somehow, I don't understand it, but it'll be very interesting to see how that works out. Whether Strickland is able to properly defend the takedown, and if he is, if will he then be able to take advantage of his striking and everything that comes with that. But for me, I don't think he'll be able to truly defend the takedown. I think that Hamzat is going to be able to take him down. And for that, I have Hamzat winning this. I don't think he'll be able to submit him or knock him out. I think it goes the distance, but I think that Hamzat wins via unanimous decision. Next fight, another title fight. We got the flyweight title fight between Joshua Van and Tatsuro Taira. I think this was supposed to happen at, I believe it was 327 or 326, but they weren't able to make it happen. And for me, I think Tatsuro Taira kind of walks over Joshua Van. My personal opinion, I think Joshua Van got lucky. I think that if Pantoja did break his arm in a freak accident within the first round, he walks over Joshua Van. And I think that Tatsuro Taira's grappling is just much better. A lot better. And he'll be able to take advantage of that. Like, you see the statistics right now, 3.1 takedowns per fight. The dude, he throws submissions too. Like Joshua Van, he doesn't go for takedowns. He doesn't go for submissions. So it's just Joshua Van's a boxer. Tatsuro Taira is more of a grappler, and that I just think Taira is going to be able to dominate Joshua Van overall. I think Tatsuro Taira wins via, I'll say, submission in the third round, but I could be wrong. But I have Taira winning. My prediction is Taira via submission in the third round, and then we continue down the main card. We go to heavyweight. We got Alexander Volkov versus Walter Cortez Acosta, and for me, I'm not exactly sure who I'm leaning with in this fight. I think I don't know. I think I think Volkov might win on. I'll take Volkov via unanimous decision. I think it goes the distance. I don't think either of these guys are gonna be able to finish the other. So I got Volkov going the distance and ultimately taking away the win against Acosta. And then we got welterweight fight between Sean Brady, Joaquin Buckley. I'm I'm not sure where to lean here, because last time I watched Joaquin Buckley fight, he got walked by Kamaru Usman. He did not know how to defend a takedown to save his life, and it looked bad. And that's not a good thing when you're going up against Sean Brady. This is a dude who can take you down. He can wrestle. He can do all of these things, and that could potentially cause some major issues for Joaquin Buckley. But if Buckley is able to land his strikes, do what he wants, stay on the outside, and just piece up Brady, I think that it could go Buckley's way. It just really depends if this is, for me, it's kind of like the Hamzat um, Strickland fight. If Buckley is able to learn, or if he learned how to defend takedowns and is just able to piece up Brady, then I'll take Buckley. But I don't know if he's going to be able to do that. Um, so this is tough. I'm gonna lean. I'm gonna go Buckley. I think he does. I do think his takedown defense has improved, and I think that he's going to be able to land one of those punches, one of those big swings, and ultimately, I think he wins via stoppage in, I say, round 3. I don't think he does it before that. I think that Brady is smart enough and good enough to avoid those in the first 2 rounds. But after that, I think that he might, in the third, I think Brady might rush for something and maybe might make a mistake, and Buckley's able to catch him on that. And then final fight of the main card, you got King Green versus Jeremy Stevens. I think I might go with Jeremy Stevens here, but I'm not 100% sure. Actually, on second thought, I'm going to go King Green. I think King Green, I think he wins via stoppage in the second round, just because I feel like his striking is probably, yeah, it is better than Jeremy Stevens. So those are my predictions for the main card of UFC 328. I've got Hamzat winning over Strickland. I got Taira winning over Joshua Van. I got Volkov beating Acosta. I got Buckley beating Brady. And I got Green beating Stevens. And then on the undercard, the feature fight on the undercard, you have Ateba Gautier versus Ozzy Diaz. Ateba Gautier, if you don't know who he is, invest in him now. That dude is an animal. He is disgusting. He has all of the power in the world, and take note that he is up next at middleweight. His power is off the charts. So invest in him now. But yeah, that is all of the UFC news that I have, and those are my predictions. And now we go over to the NBA. This is draft related. Darren Peterson said in a new round of blood work and other tests after the season that his doctors concluded that his use of high doses of creatine led to mysterious and sometimes debilitating cramping. Right. So, are we sure this is mysterious? Because it's kind of a known fact that creatine dehydrates you and that you have to drink a lot of water. And normally you take, I think it's 5 grams. Like it's a small scoop of creatine, and I don't know what exactly high doses means, but why are we this is just weird to me. Why are we acting like you didn't know what the effects of creatine were? You're taking it's just this is just so stupid to me. You are arguably one of the best players in the draft coming up. You like you're taking creatine. Cool. Pretty much every college athlete does or did. It's great for your body, but it dehydrates you. That is a known fact. You are a basketball player. The amount of calories that you burn during practice, during games, the amount of sweat that your body pours out. This is not the fault of creatine. This is just you being stupid. Drink your electrolytes, drink your water, drink a Gatorade, drink Powerade, drink whatever the heck you want. Just drink fluids, bro. That will help. You're not Paulo Banquero. Like his college report that you're sweating out like 5 gallons of water, whatever the heck he was sweating out. Like, you're just not drinking enough, bro. Debilitating cramping. Cramping is because your body does not get enough water. What the heck are we talking about here? Just drink water. That is what you're supposed to do. That everyone who takes creatine will tell you to drink more water and you will be fine. But clearly, you didn't get that message. And that's just stupid. Sorry, that bothers me. Like, it's common sense that creatine dehydrates you. When you take creatine, you're supposed to drink more water. And you should already be drinking a lot of water considering you are a Division 1 basketball player for the University of Kansas. Drink your fluids and you will be fine. Also, don't take excessive amounts of creatine. Take a normal dosage. 1 scoop is fine. Don't dry scoop. Pour it, scoop it into your water, stir it, and drink it like a normal person. And you will be fine. Don't be an idiot. Don't dry scoop your creatine. Don't drink less water. Drink more water, and you will be fine. But that's it for the creatine rant on Darren Peterson. I've had enough of that. Um, let's get in the playoffs, dude. So the way things stand right now, we'll give a general overview. Thunder leading 2-0 over the Lakers. Timberwolves and Spurs tied at 1-1. Pistons 2-0 over the Cavs. Knicks 2-0 over the 76ers. Now, let's give a breakdown of all of these series. The Thunder beat the Lakers last night, and it was an interesting game. So the Thunder had 6 players in double digits. They also had Shea, Chet, and AJ Mitchell score 20 plus points. But the real storyline from the game last night was that the refs were kind of selling the Lakers. There was a lot of no calls on the Lakers, and there were a lot of calls in favor of the Thunder. And even after the game, the Thunder went and literally directly talked to the refs after the game to try and just voice their side of the argument. But as things stand right now, it's looking like the Thunder are going to be able to just sail into the Western Conference Finals at this point. I don't believe the Lakers have what it takes to make a comeback on their side. And then you get to the Timberwolves and the Spurs. They play tonight. And all right, first of all, Anthony Edwards decided to come off of his bone bruised knee hyperextension and play. So he's playing on a minutes restriction, 25 minutes, but in game one, he scored 11 points in the fourth quarter and helped them come away with a clutch win over the Spurs in San Antonio. So that is why the series is tied 1-1. Game two kind of washed. The Spurs won by, I think it was like 38 points, and they were just disgusting. They destroyed the Timberwolves from start to finish. It wasn't close. So now we are in an interesting spot. Series is tied 1-1. The only series in the conference semis that is tied 1-1 at this point. I'm not complaining. This is everything I could have asked for. I am A-okay with watching this play out. As you see in the bottom right of the screen, Timberwolves won 104-102 game one, and then the Spurs, again, like I mentioned, 38-point win, 133-95. It wasn't close. So, very interesting situation here. They played tonight at 9:30. I don't know how fast I'll be able to edit this, if this episode will be out by then. If not, my predictions will be coming up right after I preview all of the other series in the first round. And after that, we go to the Eastern Conference semis. Detroit is taking care of business against the Cavaliers. They're up 2-0. I don't want to say they're playing like the 1 seed, because for me, they're still extremely flawed. But they've had players step up. Cade has stepped up. Some of their bench pieces have stepped up. Paul George is actually playing extremely well again. Tobias Harris is starting to have the playoffs of a lifetime. So things are going very, very well for the Detroit Pistons. And again, look at the bottom right. The Pistons are now breaking 100 points, something that they weren't really doing in previous seasons. They won their game one, 111-101, and they won game two, 107-97. So both of these games, 10-point victories, not an extreme blowout, but they led for the majority of the games. They gave you a decent amount of confidence in them, and it wasn't like it wasn't like a shaky victory. It was like, okay, the Pistons look good. They look solid. They deserve to win that game, and they did. So now we're at a point where they have a chance to make it to the conference finals for, I believe it's the first time since 2008, I want to say, which is insane. And then the final series, the Knicks are up 2-0 over the 76ers. They claimed two, I don't want to say blowout, but convincing victories. Well, I don't want to say blowout. The first game was a blowout. Again, bottom right, 137-98 game one. So, 29-point victory. Big blowout. Actually, no, wait. My brain is not computing here. 39-point, no, 38-point victory. Yes, 38-point victory. Hold up, let me check my math here. Calculator moment, because I can't count. 138 minus, or 137 minus 98. Oh my god. 137 minus 98. Oh my goodness. 137 minus 98. 39-point victory. Sorry. It is the end of the semester, and as you can tell, I am cooked. 39-point victory in game one. It was a blowout. I stand corrected. Game two, not so much. Which is kind of funny considering that Embiid played in game one and he didn't play in game two. Kind of strange that you're playing better without Embiid, but I think the real factor that's leading to the Knicks being able to win these games is OG Anunoby is playing like an absolute deity right now and is doing his damnness to bring the Knicks to the NBA Finals, which honestly I love to see. The Knicks are kind of putting everything together on the offensive side of the ball at this point. So good for them. And when we look at the schedule, I mentioned the Spurs and the Timberwolves playing tonight at 9:30. I didn't mention the Knicks and the 76ers play tonight at 7 for me. I will give my predictions for this weekend. I have the 76ers winning game 3 tonight in Philly just because it's a game time decision. The Knicks aren't exactly sure what that's going to look like. And I think that they'll have the momentum in their house for game 3. They'll be able to steal one and go into game 4 2-1 with the potential to even out the series there. And then San Antonio and Minnesota, I think San Antonio goes up 2-1 in this game. I think Anthony Edwards coming back kind of caught them off guard. And Julius Randle also had the game of his life in game one, was able to dominate in the paint and really take advantage of the fact that Spurs don't really have a true like forward. But the Spurs bounce back. They figured things out. They understand what they have to do. And from now on, it won't be remotely close. I think the Spurs are going to end up, honestly, gentlemen sweep 4-1 this series. And then tomorrow, Pistons and Cleveland. I honestly think this series is kind of going to mirror the Knicks Sixers series. I think that Cleveland goes home in game 3 and they win this game. So they're 2-1 going into game 4. And then after that, I think OKC wins game 4. I think they sweep the Lakers. But if the Lakers ever do come away with a victory, I think it is possible that they do it here in game 3 on Saturday. Just shoot like 1,000 threes and make like 50% of them and just catch the Thunder completely off guard, unexpected with I was about to say the old name, but no, at the crypt, I think that they'll be able to use the crowd behind them and just bounce back. So, yeah. But overall, I stand by my predictions. Spurs I got Spurs tonight. I got the Sixers tonight. Tomorrow, I got Cleveland and then OKC. Overall, the series, I got Knicks winning in, I think, 6. I got the Spurs winning in 5. I got Detroit winning in 7. And I got the Thunder winning in 4. So, those are my predictions for the NBA playoffs and kind of the way that things are shaping out for the rest of The playoff matchups Sunday, you got New York and Philly and San Antonio, Minnesota. Monday, you got game 4 of Detroit, Cleveland, game 4 of OKC, LA. And then Tuesday, you got game 5s of Minnesota, San Antonio, Philly, New York. And then Wednesday, you got game 5s of LA, OKC, Cleveland, Detroit. And then after that, everything is, if necessary, things could definitely change from there. And I pretty much guarantee there will be more games going after that, but they aren't penciled in yet. So that is all of the news that has happened so far in the NBA. Now it is time to get into the main topic of the episode. Welcome to the main topic of the episode, where I am going to be putting 25 of the greatest UFC fighters into a tier list in honor of UFC 328 this weekend. So, without further ado, let's get started. Where do I begin? So, first of all, let's label these categories here. I got GOAT, amazing, on that path, beast, champion, and a dude. Huh. Start. This is tough, dude. Where do I want to start? We'll start. We'll start with fudging Charles. We'll go. We'll go. We'll go, dude. I hate to do that to Charles because he is one of my favorite fighters all time. But I feel like compared to these other guys, I feel like he doesn't really have the. I don't want to say longevity because he's BMF title. He's a BMF champion right now. He just signed a extension for another 8 fights. He wants to fight till he's 40. But in terms of title reign, he doesn't really have the longevity compared to some of these other guys. I think he won 2 title defenses before he lost it. So even though I love Charles, I think that he's not as great compared to these other guys. He's a vet, and that is an understatement. He has a lot of fights under his belt, but there's also the fact that early on he was kind of deemed a quitter, and that's not exactly something that you can get past that, but I feel like Charles is for me lower compared to some of these other guys, even though he is one of my personal favorites. I can't put him higher than that. After that, we'll put Khabib in amazing. I don't think Khabib is a GOAT. This might be controversial. I don't believe he is a GOAT. I think that, yes, he retired undefeated, even though there is that one caveat. He also didn't really fight anybody. Yes, he beat Conor. Yes, he had a couple title defenses. Gaethje, Poirier. But other than that, do we really think that he's... I just don't feel like he's at that level. Yes, 29-0 is amazing, but for me personally, he's not at that all-time level. He's not this guy that he blew you out of the water with everything. Yes, he was a dominant wrestler, but the striking, not really there. I feel like he lacked some aspects, which to me takes him down. And then also, it's just also kind of like the lack of competition. It's like, what? You didn't really do anything else. So for me, I put him in amazing. Controversial, if you want to debate that, I'm here for it. Go ahead. After that, GSP, go. Undisputed. There's no question about it. Greatest welterweight of all time. Top 3 fighter of all time. All around game. No matter what. He avenged his only 2 losses. He is just, for me, I love GSP. My favorite fighter of all time. But GSP is just a goat, dude. There's no debating it. His style, he has the striking, he has the wrestling, he has the grappling to the jiu-jitsu. He has everything that you can ask for. He retired from welterweight, took time off, came back, and kind of cleaned the floor with oh, what's the British guy's name? I am completely blanking on him. He just commentated the UFC or I think it was the UFC International Fight Card last week. Michael Bisping. He came back and beat Michael Bisping after I think it was 2 years off. Like GSP is just for me an absolute legend. I love GSP. He's just one of my all-time favorites. And then after that, where do I go? Put Max Holloway in. Uh, put him in. I'll put him. I'll put Max in. Dude, I guess he was the featherweight champion before Volk took that title. Yes, he was also the BMF champion. He held that title after that nasty knockout, that crazy knockout against Gaethje at UFC 300. I just don't. It's kind of like the same argument with Charles, apart from the early career stuff. I just don't think that Max has that championship longevity because after he lost the title, there was a long, long period of time where he wasn't really doing all that much, to be honest. And for me, like to be higher up, like GSP, I think he holds the record for welterweight title defenses. Khabib, retired undefeated, absolute legend. Like to be higher up, I feel like you need more longevity with your title reign. You need more dominance as well. And I feel like neither Max nor Charles had that level of dominance. After that, where do we go from there? I'll put Fedor at Beast. I know Fedor wasn't a UFC fighter, never made it over because he was controlled by the Russian mob, the Bratva and all that. Whatever. But Fedor was an absolute animal, bro. One of the best fighters in the world, with pride, with when he fought, he was arguably the best fighter in the world. He just never made it over the UFC, which kind of sucks. But Fedor was an absolute animal. He was this guy that could just flatline you no matter what in any fight. So Fedor is an absolute beast. And that is why he is staying in the beast category. After that, I'm looking here. I'm going to put Izzy in champion. Just because Izzy, he had a fast rise through the UFC rankings. When he first came in, I think he took the title within, I think it's like a year or two. He flatlined Whitaker, and then he went on what, five fight title defense. He beat Whitaker, Paulo Costa, Yoel Romero, Vittori, and I think there's one more title fight in there that I'm. Oh no, Anderson Silva was before that. That was the second to last fight, or that was the fight before he got the interim belt. But there is another title fight in there, and then he lost his title to Pereira, won it back, flatlined Pereira, and then lost it again. So for me, Izzy is a champion, but I don't think that he's a beast like Fedor. He, for me, some of the best striking that I've ever seen. He is also one of my favorite fighters of all time, alongside GSP and Charles. But the grappling also, it leaves a lot to be desired. For me, the ground game is kind of really non-existent. It's not to the level that you want to see from a guy that you put at these higher tiers. And then, kind of similar to Izzy, is Kamaru Usman. Kamaru also had I believe it was four fights. He defended his welterweight title after beating Tyron Woodley. He ultimately lost it to, who did he lose it to? Was it Bilal? No, it wasn't Bilal. It was Leon Edwards on that head kick. Um, but Kamaru, when he was welterweight champion, he was dominant. Nigerian Nightmare, he was insanely good. Even now, he's still very good. His last fight that he was in against Joaquin Buckley, I talked about that earlier when I was kind of previewing the Joaquin Sean Brady fight. But Kamaru Usman, still an extremely good wrestler. He put on a clinic against Joaquin Buckley. He's still able to do it at an extremely high level. I just don't know if he's going to be able to reach those levels at the welterweight division anymore. But in terms of his championship reign and him overall, I think he's still an extremely high level guy. And then we get to reason why I don't think he'll be able to make it up the welterweight reigns anymore is because Islam Makhachev. I'll put him in on that path, and on that path for me right now is just you're fighting currently. We don't know what exactly you're going to be. You have the potential to be amazing or the GOAT, and Islam Makhachev is definitely in that. He's fighting right now, welterweight champion. He's going to fight. It looks like he's going to fight Ian Gary Machado, but Carlos Prates just called him out after his win against JDM. Very dominant win by Prates, by the way. Story for another day. But Islam, two-division champion, lightweight, welterweight. The dude is dominant. Everything that I said about Khabib not having the striking, Islam has that. He has the wrestling and the striking now. He's able to do everything that you want him to do in terms of the ground game, the striking. He's completely dominant. I think he's lost one fight. So it'll be very interesting to see where the rest of his career goes. And with the trajectory that he's on, I think that he could surpass Khabib and join GSP in that GOAT category down the line. And then after that, I feel like talking about Islam, it's only right to also bring up Ilya, and I'm putting Ilya right next to Islam in on that path. Featherweight, lightweight, two-division champion, undefeated right now. He's gonna fight Gaethje in June. two division champion. The dude is absolutely nasty. He can wrestle, he can grapple, he can strike. We've seen the knockouts. If you've been paying attention, you've seen the clips of him grappling on his social medias. The dude can do it all. Like Islam, is on that path. I want to see what the rest of his career looks like. I'm not the biggest fan of Ilya, but if things continue this way, he could reach that GOAT category as well. If he stays undefeated, that'll be very interesting to see. But I just think that Ilya and Islam right now are, they're pound for pound the top two fighters in the world, and rightly so. They deserve to be there. It sucks that I don't think we'll be ever able to see them match up against each other, but those two definitely are on that path to those top two tiers without a question. And then after that, where do we go next? Um I'm looking here, and well, let's get an easy one out the way. John Jones, GOAT tier. No debate about it, no ifs, ands, or buts. Absolute dominant no matter what. Two division champion as well, light heavyweight champion. Came back, flatlined Stipe, even though Stipe hadn't been training much with that spinning back kick. And there's no need to mention his time at light heavyweight, youngest UFC champion in the world, dominant, never lost a title fight. He got the title stripped for his extracurriculars. Let's call it that. But the dude was absolutely dominant in the ring. There was no questioning his greatness and what he was able to do when it came to his fighting talent. His fighting IQ is also off the charts. He has all the moments in the world. The press conference with DC was insane. If you haven't seen the clip of DC and John Jones when they thought the cameras were off, John Jones saying that he would kill DC. He has all the moments, like I said, that the standing gilly on Machida was insane as well. So John Jones, just absolute GOAT tier. After that, I kind of mentioned it. I'll put DC at amazing. I think DC is also one of these guys that he could have been two division champion, light heavyweight, heavyweight. Dude is an animal. But I feel like when I think of DC right now, first thing that's coming to mind is his sobbing retirement video or speech where he said that if he wasn't able to compete at the level that he wanted to, he was going to retire, and he did. But in the ring, the dude was an animal. I'm sure you've seen all the clips of him picking people up, slamming them onto the canvas. The dude was a very, very good champion. It just sucks that he ran into John Jones at light heavyweight, was never able to beat him, but he did hold the title in both divisions. So DC, absolutely amazing champion, amazing fighter, and also amazing commentator as well. So here's to DC. We love him. Shout out to him. His home gym is also, or his wrestling gym is also 30 minutes away from my house. So salute DC. I might actually go train out there one day if I'm feeling up to it. After that, where else do we go? We're 11 fighters in already. I feel like this is breezing by. Um, hmm. Interesting. Um, huh. I'm looking here. I want to put Matt Hughes at dude. Just because I don't think Matt Hughes is this all-time guy. Yes, he did beat GSP. GSP did avenge that loss, but for me, Matt Hughes isn't a guy that really stands out at the page off the page. A lot of people don't even know who he is. If we're being honest here, they don't really they don't see Matt Hughes and they're like, "Oh yeah, I know that guy. He beat GSP." They're like, you bring up Matt Hughes, they're like, "Who is that?" But Matt Hughes was a very good fighter. But for me, again, he doesn't have the championship longevity like Charles, like Max. And also, I don't feel like he had the dominance of guys like Izzy or Kamaru when they were in their primes. So Matt Hughes going into dude category. After that, I'm looking here. Um, where should I go next? Amanda Nunes is. I see her. She's on my list. She's a goat, dude. That is the greatest women's fighter of all time, hands down. No debate. I don't care what you say. That woman is the baddest woman on the planet by far. I don't care. Two division women's champion. The Lioness is absolutely disgusting. I was a huge fan of her when she was fighting. When I saw the news that she was fighting Kayla Harris or was gonna fight Kayla Harrison before that fight got canceled, I'm like, let's go, dude. I get to watch Amanda Nunes again. But she was an amazing fighter, dude. I still go back, I watch the highlights, even though I know a lot of people don't really care about the women's divisions in the UFC. Amanda Nunes is disgustingly good, dude. Some of the stuff that she's able to do, or she was able to do, is insane. And she is the greatest women's fighter of all time, and she is a goat of the UFC, bar none, no debate. I don't care who you're talking to. You can argue with a brick wall for all I care. Um, After that, where do we go here? Um, huh. We'll go Chuck Liddell. Hmm, ah, eh. Chuck Liddell. I'm gonna lump Chuck Liddell and Randy Couture into the same bucket, kind of like I'm lumping Izzy and Kamaru into the same bucket. They go in champion. Those dudes were the early pioneers of the UFC. Both UFC champions, um, both amazing fighters in their heyday. They even fought against each other too. Which, if you didn't watch that fight, go watch it. It's actually pretty fun to watch because that was back in the UFC. A lot of shit was allowed, and they didn't really have the tactics. It was kind of just a brawl. But both of those guys, absolute dogs. I am seriously debating them putting in Beast just for the stuff that they did. Right now, I don't know. I want to put them at champion, but it just doesn't feel right to me. Gosh darn it. Ah, what the heck? Ale and Beast. Those two are animals. All the all the stories about them are insane. I've all the memes around Chuck Liddell and him being just a wild man are insane, and both of them deserve the title of Beast. After that, where do we go next? I'm looking at these names right now, and I'm going to put Volk in amazing. For me, right now, he is amazing. Best featherweight of all time, bar none, not even close. I think that he is absolutely phenomenal. He's kind of reaching, I don't want to say he's reaching the end because he's 38, but he's still fighting extremely well. I think his title reign will come to an end eventually, but the dude, ever since he took the title from Max, has defended it no matter what. He gave Islam his hardest fight ever, and Islam is en route to be a GOAT. And that was the first Islam fight. Second Islam fight was stupid, fucking 11 days notice he took that fight. That was don't even get me started on that. But Volk has the whole package, dude. He has the grappling, he has the striking, he has the cooking. If you know, you know, bro. Can chef it up. But he has the grappling, he has the striking, he has everything that you can ask for as a champion. And he's defended his belt. Like even against Diego Lopez, I going into that fight, I had my doubts about Volk in whether or not he was going to be able to defend his title, and he did exactly that. And now he's just on this streak, this guy that no one can really touch at the featherweight division until he wants to kind of step down. For me, I feel like he's going to retire on a win. I don't feel like he's going to be dethroned anytime soon. So Volk is amazing. He's not a GOAT though, but he is very close. I think honestly might be higher than DC in terms of how close he is to GOAT. After that, um this is a bit controversial, but Pantoja is on that path. He's on that path to be one of those guys. To be an amazing or GOAT. Before he got hurt against Joshua Van. He was vying for the longest, for the most title defenses in flyweight history. The dude was just running through the division, and no one could hold a candle to him. No one really paid attention to him because he was at one of the lighter divisions, kind of like Mighty Mouse was. But the dude was just cleaning house with absolutely everybody. And it wasn't close. So even in that fight against Joshua Van, I mentioned it earlier. I thought he was going to clean the floor with Joshua Van and break Mighty Mouse's record. I think that even no matter who wins this fight between Van and Taira this weekend, I think Pantoja comes back. He gets the first title shot and he wins back his belt. He wins back his flyweight belt and he defends it again. And it's not even close. So whoever wins that, I think, will fight Pantoja. And Pantoja is just his grappling is absurd. He has all the striking in the world and he just has all these skills. And he has a very lovable story, a very great story that makes you want to root for him. Sorry about that momentary pause. I just realized my brain just like glitched out for no reason. So Pantoja is on that path. And the guy that he's chasing, Demetrius Johnson, is a GOAT. Mighty Mouse is an absolute legend of the game. He's risen in popularity since he's retired, which is insane, but it makes sense. The dude has 12 UFC title defenses. He has, even going into one, he has 3 championships in one. So he's 15 championships across one in the UFC. Dude has all the striking in the world now, even now at his retirement, all the grappling in the world too. He's competing at IBJJF Gi Worlds. Like he's doing whatever he wants. If you tune into the Mighty Journey, the dude trains with absolutely everybody. He's trained with Hamza. He's trained with Arman. He's trained down in Austin with B Team. He's trained with Rod Tang. He's trained with all of these guys, and he's still able to keep it up during retirement. And then during his career, he cleaned out the flyweight division. It wasn't even close. It wasn't a competition. He eventually lost his title to Cejudo, and then for some reason, Dana White decided to trade him to ONE FC for Ben Askren, who got flatlined by Jorge Masvidal not that long after. That was probably the dumbest trade in MMA history. But Mighty Mouse is an absolute goat. Dude could do absolutely everything and anything that you could want from a fighter. So he is an absolute goat. After that, we're down to the final 7, and I'm looking here at these names. Jose Aldo is a beast. People only know Jose Aldo his for him getting knocked out by Conor McGregor within the first 90 seconds of the match or whatever it was. But you don't know before that. Jose Aldo ran the division, and it wasn't close. He was the undisputed king. And low key, even after that, even after the Conor fight, yes, he had a couple rough fights, but then he bounced back and continued to fight extremely, extremely well. This is a guy that he is an absolute vet of the game. I don't know how many fights he has off the top of his head. He recently retired though, but the dude just strung together so many fights, so many victories. He had an insane title defense, insane title run that like it's hard, honestly, for me, it's hard not to put him in amazing. He was just out of this world spectacular. And it sucks that people just remember him as a guy that was knocked out by Connor. Because Jose Aldo deserves all the respect in the world. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch Jose Aldo highlights. Go watch him just absolutely run through the division and just sit on the throne, defend the title for however long he wanted. Go watch that. And then come back to me and tell me that Jose Aldo is not an absolute monster, borderline beast, could stand along Volk, Khabib, and DC. Once you do that, then we can talk. If not, like I said with Amanda Nunes, argue with a brick wall for all I care. And then I mentioned the guy that knocked him out, McGregor. We'll put him at bit controversial, but put him at a dude. Top of the dude category, but it's just a dude. Yeah, he had that phenomenal knockout of Jose Aldo. Yes, he was the first two division champion, but apart from that, what else did he really do? Like after the Khabib fight, he kind of started falling apart. Nate Diaz fight was an absolute war, and then after Mayweather, things just went downhill. It's just the legend around him that people are like, oh, Conor McGregor was this absolute animal. He was amazing. Yeah, he had the knockout power against Jose Aldo. He put him to sleep. But like, what else did you do? You fought Floyd Mayweather in a boxing match. You decided to do a trilogy against Dustin Poirier, and then you snapped your leg in the third fight and continued talking shit after you broke your leg. There's all the controversies. I won't get into that. And now you're just teasing coming back or whatever. I don't think you ever will. Like he had an insane peak. There's no doubt about it. But it's not, you don't have the consistency of these other dudes. You were at the top of the world. You were like here at the top, and then you went down here, and then you were here like then you went down, then you went and you came back down. Like now no one knows what the heck you're doing. So I can't put you in a category above any of these other guys. I can't put you at the level of Izzy or Kamaru just because these guys were consistent. They had their title reigns too. They were dominant fashion. Like, what else have you done? Nothing. I can't put you higher than that. So for me, like McGregor, you're a dude, but you're not a true champion for me. You're not that guy. After that, we'll go Anderson Silva is a GOAT to me. Greatest middleweight of all time. Not a debate. Kind of sucks. He came in the UFC a bit late, but when he came in, he cleaned house. The spider was absolutely disgusting, bro. The viral front kick knockout, chef's kiss. That was disgusting. Um, he had all the tools, bro. I mean, he didn't really have that's a lie. He did have the grappling. He had all the tools in the world, dude. His striking was insane. He just weave, move around. He had the grappling too. He had the jiu-jitsu. I mentioned the Anderson Silva Izzy fight, dude. If you haven't watched that, go watch it, and don't watch it for like a knockout, but watch it in terms of the striking, in terms of a martial artist perspective on striking. The chess match that those two play with each other is beautiful. That, honestly, one of my favorite fights of all time. Not just because of the fact that I'm a huge Izzy fan, and that was part of his rise, but because of the IQ and the ability of those two strikers. The things that they were able to do in that fight was insane. But Anderson Silva, even before that, that was when Anderson Silva was old. Before that, Anderson Silva was a monster. He was a guy that, like, you couldn't sniff him in his prime. There's all the clips in the world of Joe Rogan saying when Anderson Silva came to the UFC, he's like, dude, I told my friends, bet on the house on that guy. And looking back on it, yeah, you probably should have. The dude ran the middleweight division. I think he still holds the record for longest title reign of anyone. I don't remember how long it is, but the dude was an animal, and he sat on the throne for ever. I have to look that up. I'll get back to you guys at some point, but the dude just did not move. Unrelenting king of the middleweights forever. After that, um, I'm looking at these names here. Valentina Shevchenko, amazing. For me, second best women's fighter of all time behind Amanda Nunes. Valentina Shevchenko, the stuff she's able to do is incredible. The performances that she's able to put on, the knockouts and everything in between is just amazing. She can I don't even know how to explain it, honestly. Um how do I put this into words? Valentina Shevchenko is just amazing to watch. Like, I can't tell you anything other than just go watch her fights, dude. The stuff that she's able to do, her striking is phenomenal. It is top of the line in the women's division. Honestly, if we put gender aside, if we made like all the male fighters female, or you made Valentina Shevchenko a male, like she top tier striking in the males division. Doesn't matter, not a contest. So Valentina Shevchenko is absolutely amazing fighter. Not even close. I think the gap between her and Amanda Nunes is probably closer than the gap between whoever's sitting at third and Valentina Shevchenko in terms of women's all-time rankings for me. Like, it's that far. She is just miles ahead of anyone else, and then the gap between her and Amanda Nunes is relatively close, which is crazy to say because Amanda Nunes set the bar so high, but Valentina Shevchenko is just still going at it and still chasing that level of greatness, and I am all here for it, dude. It's wonderful. And then final 3 names here. I want to put Pereira at the top of Beast. I don't know if Pereira is going into on that path. It's definitely controversial considering what he's trying to do here. He's trying to he's gonna fight Cyril Gahn for the interim heavyweight title and potentially fight Aspinall for the heavyweight title, become the UFC's first 3 division champion, which would be wild in and of itself. But I don't think, yes, he's amazing, but I don't feel like there's anyone who better encapsulates the category of beast than Alex Pereira. The dude came out of retirement after Izzy mentioned him as a guy in a bar in Brazil who will never live up to him. Pereira heard that, decided to come out of the bar in Brazil, out of the Amazon rainforest, so to speak, wherever he lives with his tribe, and just decided to clean house in the middleweight division. And he's like, make the weight cut for middleweight is too hard. Let me go to light heavyweight. And then proceeded to clean house at light heavyweight. And he's like, this is boring. I'll go to heavyweight. And now he is challenging for the interim title at heavyweight. The dude, first of all, I don't know what black magic he is practicing in the Amazon rainforest, but that dude, forget hands of stone. The dude has hands of vibranium. Like, what the heck are we talking about here? He's putting on the Infinity Gauntlet, and he's just knocking everybody out with his left hook. It's not close. He's putting everyone to sleep. So, Pereira is just an absolute animal. He's disgusting. Also, caveat, kind of also another reason I didn't put him on that path, his ground game is kind of non-existent. I will cite the only fight where there was any remote grappling against him with Ankh, and he lost his light heavyweight title in that fight. Like, he wasn't able to land that big KO, and Ankh just cage wrestled him and won the fight. So his grappling kind of leaves a bit to be desired, but I guess that's acceptable when you have the freaking Infinity Gauntlet in your left hand. So, fair enough. After that, we'll go Stipe Miocic. I don't know what to do with Stipe. Because that's tough. Because Stipe has the all-time wins at heavyweight. I don't know what to do with Stipe. I'll put him amazing. Stipe was great. It sucks that I say lasting image of someone when I talked about Jose Aldo on the knockout. My lasting image of Stipe right now is that there's 2 fights. The one against John Jones with that spinning back kick where he loses, and then also the fight against Ngannou where he gets literally just Ngannou pressed the off button and turned his lights out. But before that, dude, Stipe was a dog. He was absolutely amazing. Ran the heavyweight division for a long time. Fought with DC. Those were some great fights, by the way, if you haven't seen those. And he is the most decorated heavyweight champion of all time. And he's just absolutely amazing. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that in any way. And then we get to the last name on this tier list in Merab. Name number 23. 5. Where do I put him though? I'll put him a champion. I don't know if I can put him anywhere else. I'll put him at the top of champion though. Cuz he's the run that he went on, the amount of fights that he took in, I think it was that 2-year span, that title defense where he took the title and then defended it like 4 times in the span of like 2 years was absolutely insane. But I don't feel like he has the longevity of like Jose Aldo or the absolute like beast of um, Pereira. The dude has an inhuman gas tank. I'm not putting that beyond him, but the Peter Yan fight kind of put a dent in his image for me. Peter Yan took him apart, if we're being honest here, and it wasn't close. He just was able to piece him up. That body kick was pain. It was bad, bro. But Marab is an absolute. He's a great champion. I think that he's going to get the next title shot at bantamweight. So it'll be very, very interesting to see what that fight between him and Petr Yan looks like. But Marab is a phenomenal champion for the UFC, a great fighter who I am not complaining about any of the stuff that he did. So this is my tier list of the 25 greatest fighters of all time. I feel like GOAT seems kind of crowded, but then again, like, no, because those are the 5 greatest fighters of all time. Those are the 4 Mount Rushmore guys in the men's divisions: GSP, John Jones, Mighty Mouse, and Anderson Silva. Like, you ask anyone who knows ball, those are the 4. And then Amanda Nunes is undisputably the GOAT of women's UFC of all time. Amazing feels right. Yeah, I don't think I have to can change anything there. On that path also, like, there's no getting around that. Those guys will be in the top 2 tiers. I just don't know where exactly they're going to shake out and what exactly the rest of their career is going to look like, cuz they all have the potential and will be up there. I think Islam might make a case for the GOAT. I think Ilya might go into amazing. So would Pantoja. I just This might be some personal bias against Ilya because I'm not the biggest fan of him, but I think that he could, if he decides to move up to welterweight, another division. For what reason he would do that, I don't know. If he decides to do that, that'll be very dumb. I think we'll get stomped out at welterweight just because of the talent that's there, and also he's a small guy. But I think Ilya and Pantoja will end up in amazing, and then Beast. 4 of the 5 guys there, Pereira, Fedor, Liddell, and Couture, they just embody the tier. They're just a beast, an animal, a monster, whatever you want to call it. That's just their tier. And then Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo, it doesn't feel right to have him there. It really doesn't, to have him in Beast. I'm moving Jose Aldo up to amazing. Making a change here. Jose Aldo going up to amazing. Now I'm thinking back to everything that I said, all the comments that I made. He had his title defense. He had the longevity with his title reign. But even after that, yeah, he had a couple off fights. He came back, dude. He was at the top of the division after that for a while. And he was fighting extremely, extremely well. He's an absolute legend, absolutely amazing. And I don't think he belongs in the beast tier list or any of those other tier lists. Clearly, he's retired, so he can't be on that path. He's just amazing in every way. Again, I mentioned his highlights. Go watch those, dude. Go watch Jose Aldo, and then come talk to me. And then at champion, we got Marab. Could move up. We'll see what happens with the rest of his career. And then you got Izzy Kamaru. Feels right to have him in champion. And then you got Connor, Charles, Max, and Matt Hughes are all dudes. They were great, but they're not at the level of any of these other guys, in my opinion. And that is my tier list of the 25 greatest fighters of all time. If you have any gripes or complaints, like I said with my tier list last week of the top soccer players in the world, dude, talk to me. Tell me about it. I'll debate this with you for hours. I can go. I'll have fun. I enjoy talking about sports. Like, whatever you want to talk about, let's do it. So, that's it for that. Enough said. Let's get into game time. Let's have some fun. Welcome to game time. We're throwing it back. We're doing take 2 on guessing all of the college football teams. So let's get started. We got 12 minutes. Cal, Stanford, San Jose State, San Diego State, Fresno State, UCLA, USC, UC Davis. Never mind, they're not. Oregon State, Washington State, Boise State, Wyoming, and then Nevada, UNLV, New Mexico State, Arizona State, Utah State, BYU, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, then Texas Tech, North Texas, UTSA, Texas A&M, Baylor, TCU, whatever, we keep going, Nebraska, and then we'll go Iowa State, Arkansas, Tennessee, and then I already said Kentucky, right? I didn't. Kentucky. We'll go down from Kentucky, Louisville, and then we'll go LSU, UL Monroe. Why am I blanking on other lead? Mississippi, MISS, Texas State, Alabama, Auburn, Florida, USF, FSU, UCF, Central Florida, Tampa, No. Tampa's not a school. What other schools are there? Obviously Miami. And then you go Clemson, Duke, North Carolina, South Carolina, NC State, and then you got Virginia Tech, West Virginia, and then I said Arkansas, I said Tennessee. What are these other random? Oh, Vanderbilt. After that, keep going. We'll go Michigan State, Ohio State, Akron, Bowling Green, Kent State, Western Michigan, Central Michigan, Eastern Michigan, Toledo, UMass, UConn, Notre Dame, Boston College, Nebraska. I already said that. Wisconsin, Purdue, Northwestern. What other schools am I missing? We'll go Marshall. We'll go Kansas State. We'll go App State. We'll go Hawaii. What other schools am I missing here? Liberty. What are these other random schools that I'm JMU, Coastal Carolina, Coastal Carolina is not an FBS school, or am I tripping here? Whatever. What other schools am I missing here? I said Purdue. I said Vandy. Akron, Alabama, Auburn, Appalachian, Boise State, Baylor, BYU, Cincinnati, no, not Cleveland, Chicago, Georgia Tech, Georgia Tech, Eastern Michigan, Florida State, Florida, Iowa State. Ithaca is not a D1 school. What other schools am I missing here? Dude, I'm doing so much worse than I did last time. This is not good. Illinois, All State, Indiana, Houston. I thought Sam Houston was already D1 school. Syracuse, Um, SMU. I said Ball State. What other school? Oh, Army, Navy, Air Force, Colorado, Colorado State. I said Minnesota, Maryland, Penn State, Pitt, Purdue. Who are these other schools that I'm missing here? Missouri, Rutgers, Tulsa. Wake Forest. Who are these other MAC schools that I am missing here? Oh, Louisiana. Was that? Louisiana Tech. Dude, who are these Maction schools? Oh, I should know this. I should really, really know this. NIU, Buffalo, Arkansas State, Troy, Old Dominion, then Coastal Carolina. You're telling me Coastal Carolina is not a Division I school? They did not play BYU with Zach Wilson and jump him like 3-4 years ago? What are we talking about here? Did I say Temple? I don't think I did. Who else? Oh, come on. Throw me a lob. Memory, please save me. Give me something that I can use here. Oh, who are these other random schools that I have 100% watched, but I can't remember to save the life of me? I don't know. Who did I miss? Okay. FAU, Memphis, Rice, Tulane, UAB. Duh. UTEP. Yeah, I probably should have gotten those, but hey, 117 out of 134. I will take that. And then we'll guess the NBA players. We'll start out with how I always start out. We'll guess Steph Curry. So he's a younger forward in the East. We'll guess Scotty Barnes. 6'8". We'll go forward. He's a young guy. Jeez. Who's that young? Younger than 24. Scotty was in the Mobley draft. Not in the Atlantic. Not in the Southeast. So that's not Boston, Philly, either New York team, Toronto, Hawks, Wizards. Magic, Heat, or Hornets. So that leaves me the Bucks, the Bulls, the Pacers, Pistons, and the Cavs. Jalen Duren is young, but he's too old. 6'8". So it's not Detroit. Modest? It is Modest. Hey! Too good at this game, bro. I can guess these players all day long. Then we are now going to build an NBA player. We're going to try and build the best big possible with only current NBA centers. So here we go. Will this be an all-time big like we're seeing a lot of players in the league right now? And get the Mavericks. Right. Interesting. Best big in the league, and it starts with the Mavericks. I guess I'll take Lively finishing. This isn't gonna end well. I need like those godly players, not those players, not Pelicans players. Right. I guess I'll take use Missy Body. This isn't great. I need someone a lot better. I need like Jokic. I was gonna say Wemby, not who do the Hawks even run at center? Right. So this is a major issue. Right. I guess we'll take Jock Londale shooting. I think he was a good shooter. I don't remember what his percentage was. I think it was around 38%, which isn't horrible. Could definitely do a lot worse than the Raptor. Oh God. Um. Oh God, that is disgusting. Right. So Pirtle is not great at anything, and I think I might be building the worst center in the league. I think that's how you spell his name, but I'm not sure. Jacopoto. And then we get the passing of who? Of Zubac, I guess. Yeah, that might be the worst center I think I've ever made. Worst player I've made in general. That is horrible. That is shockingly bad. Wow. Okay. Moving on. Let's try to forget that. Um last week when I was building players, I accidentally built the Monstars with Luca and Durant, LeBron, and Jokic. So for the foreseeable future, the plan is going to try and beat that team with players from the 2010s only. So let's see if I can beat the Monstars with 2010s stars. Grizzlies. Hmm. I guess we'll go Gasol at the 4 or the 5 for now. I might move him down, maybe, depending if we get a better player. Please, please, please. Okay, we'll go. We'll go Durant for Durant. Okay, come on. Keep going. Give me 2010s superstars. Dallas Mavericks. Um. Huh. Luca was drafted, what, 2019? And they were kind of very terrible for the rest of the 2010s. I think, what? Dirk won his ring in 2012? Yeah, I'll take Dirk. After that, please, 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 I need like prime Harden and 2010s Magic players. This is horrible. They didn't have any guards. Oh my gosh. Right. 2010s guards. Who in the heck played? Why is the only player coming to mind like Cole Anthony? But that doesn't even feel right. Um, this is disgusting. I think JJ Redick was on. JJ Redick was on one of those teams, so maybe we can go with him. And then after that, please give me. Oh no! Oh no! 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 Yuck! That is disgusting, and I hate it. Um, Brooklyn Nets. Um, when was that D'Lo All Star year? Was that 2019? That feels too late. Actually, it was it the 2019 season? I think so. So we'll take D'Lo. Right. Yeah, the Monstars still absolutely killed us. We go Durant for Durant, nice. But I'll take I'll take Luca, I'll take Ant, I'll take LeBron, and I'll take Jokic. So we got killed, and it wasn't even close. This is like one-sided massacre. So hopefully we do better here. We're gonna build our foot draft formation. We'll go 3-4, and we'll take Scholes over Arthur for chemistry purposes. Same with Henri, because then it allows us to take players like that and not be terribly, terribly cooked. And then we'll take him. He's Spanish Premier League. That could help us a lot. Spanish chemistry there, and then we'll take Balak. Desai, obviously, for chemistry purposes. Van Dyke can go over there near Zaha. And we'll take Sergio Ramos. We'll flip those, get more chemistry. And then take him for the chemistry link, and we get a 191 already. But my bench is going to sell me. It's already down to a 190. Oh, Xavi. I don't know where he goes, but I'll take him. Same with Witzel, I guess. And we're down. More ratings. Stupid non-rares. I don't need you. We'll take an 81, and we're down another rating. Stupid players. Oh my goodness. Please save me. Oh, thank you. Reserves. Thank you. Higuain, I guess. Please stop. I will take him. Cannavaro works. Haller doesn't. And right. What? Am I supposed to do here? I think I might take Havertz, put him in for chemistry, bring Havertz on, Haller on, Desai on, Sanchez on, and now the rating is back up. It's up to a 190. If I put him there, the chemistry goes down. Fudge. Right. What can I do to get my chemistry? Oh. That's what I can do. That works, right? Yeah. Um Yeah, that works, dude. I just got 2 prime players. I want to see. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. I just built a 192. I think that might have been the highest foot draft I've ever built on the show. I'm happy with that, dude. That is a lot better than the 2 basketball players that I just made. Or the team and the player. 192. We're having a good time. Now we got to guess the NFL player. He was not a rookie of the year. He is a bit small. So it's not Kyler. Is it? Oh, it's an AFC something. Who is a smaller guy in the AFC? Not a receiver. I'm thinking quarterback, but who are these small quarterbacks in the AFC? Huh. Who are you? Chase Brown. So it's a running back. 5'10". Jeez Louise, this dude is a midget. AFC running back. 5'10". Is Jonathan Taylor that small? It's an AFC South running back. I'll take that. Who are these AFC South running backs? No. It was Jonathan Taylor for the Colts. ETN. And who was that other running back that took him? Was it Tank Bixby? He's on the Eagles now. God, I just wasted a pick. Who was the Titans running back? Tony Pollard? There's no way Tony Pollard is taller than Taylor. So it's not the Titans. It's not the Colts. Who are the Texans? Is it Woody Marks? It is Woody Marks. Yeah, I'm too good at this. All right, let's try to do these NFL strands. Tight end, tight end, tight end. And him are all tight ends. Who? Obviously, Baker, Trubisky, and Jordan Love are all quarterbacks. Booty, Pearsall, Puka. Are these just all quarterbacks? Yeah. All right. Um. Higgins, Pearsall, Booty, and Tajay Spears is a running back, I believe. One away. Is it Tajay Spears? So there's an odd one out in this category somewhere. Who am I missing here? I'm gonna shuffle. I'm gonna see if that gives me any inspiration. It's Gunner, Arroyo, Trey Benson. Oh, fair enough. Fair enough, dude. Then we'll build our starting lineup here. Who do we get? Huh. Interesting. Who do I want for $5 here? Is an interesting discussion. I feel like Hawkinson for 2 is pretty good. I'm honestly not complaining with Chuba either. And then I can go Josh Allen at $6 left. I can go Burrow and then take JMO and Olave. Huh. I could also do this. Yeah, I'll do that. That feels right to me. What did most people pick? ETN, JMO, Waddle. Yeah? Yeah, honestly. Valid. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that's understandable to me. Okay. After that, we'll go to soccer. We got to build a soccer team to win the Champions League. Champions League final is in 23 days. May 30th. So, in honor of that, we got to build a team to win the Champions League final. Active players only. Start with Tottenham. And, normally I would go with Xavi Simons, but he tore his ACL. And, dude, this is wild. He's tore his ACL, and his test to see if the ACL was torn was to have him run up and down the sideline. Like, what are we doing here? So definitely not him. Oh, this sucks because Tottenham is in the relegation zone. Oh my goodness. Right. Who do we take? I guess Richarlison. Not thrilled about it, but I guess please Inter. We'll go we'll go Bastoni. Please, please, please give me somebody good. I'm really hoping that you. My goodness. Right. We need best midfielder in the world. I will take that. After that, please, 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 Liverpool. Well, we won't mess around in the back line. We'll go Van Dyke. After that, please keep giving me good players. Lookman, I could. We'll go. Actually, go All Black. In goal, really just solidify the back. After that, ooh, Chelsea. Who do I want to take from Chelsea? We'll go Reece James. I'm really hoping that my taking of defenders is not going to cook me down the line. Manchester City. I will take that. Take Ryan Cherokee. Please continue to bless me with stars. Oh my goodness. Okay. Mbappe. That works. That works very, very well. After that, who else? Oh, crud. Who Benfica midfielders? Um, I think that's his name. Defensive midfielder for Benfica. I believe that's his name, but I could be very, very wrong. I'm also not sure how to pronounce it. I was just looking over positions and wonderful. Right. Okay. Is James Madison still in Tottenham? Because I was seeing those rumors that he was linked to Bayern. Huh. If not, I have to take their left back. Uh, yeah, we'll go James Madison. Because unlike Xavi Simons, he is back on the bench coming in for them. And wonderful. Benfica left back. Who is the Benfica left back? I was looking at the roster the other day. That's what I found. What's his name in the midfield? Mum, 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 mum. I was almost gonna put Carreras, but he went to Real. It was Neto was the guy's name. This isn't bad. I'm not horribly displeased with this. Front line is very good, honestly. Mbappe, Richarlison, and Ryan Cherokee. That's very good. Midfield is Pedri kind of carries. Back line is very, very solid. Do they win the Champions League though? Do they beat PSG or Arsenal? Honestly, I don't think they beat PSG, so this team is not winning the Champions League. Sad though, because this team is. I really like this team. This is very good. After that, go to the NFL, where we are building a quarterback. Normal deal, arm, IQ, body mobility, and accuracy. Hopefully, this goes better than building that center. For the NBA, we start off with a very good start, the Kansas City Chiefs. Ooh, what do we take here? I'm gonna take Mahomes' IQ. The dude is a football genius. Okay. Might have just gotten off to one of the best starts ever. Houston Texans. This is tough. I don't want to take CJ Stroud because dude he had like 10 turnovers in his two playoff games. But he doesn't have the biggest arm in the world either. Fudge. I guess we'll take his mobility. And just have a pocket passer. Excuse me. Jaguars body will take Trevor Lawrence. He's a big boy. Now we just need. That is exactly what I was hoping for. Josh Allen arm. That dude has an absolute rocket launcher as an arm. And now we just need accuracy. we're not doing respins for the same players. This was a rule that I made. So who do we get for accuracy? We get Dak. Honestly, not bad. Not bad at all. I'm not opposed to this. I do think it could be. Mm, considering what I got. Um. Hmm. No, I think that's the best I could have done. I don't think I would have been able to build something better than that. Yeah, I will take that. And our final wheel spinning game is you know the drill. We've got to build an NFL team. So who do we start off with? Seahawks, wide receiver, Jackson, Smith, and Jigba. I will take that. That dude had a monstrous season. It's genuinely scary. Cleveland Browns. There's only one choice, defensive player. That is Myles Garrett, who is also terrifying in his own right. Who else do we get? There is right. Okay. So I have a couple different options here. I have a lot of options actually. I can go McVay. I could go the defense, which is amazing. I could have just the best wide receiver duo in the world, or I could go with the MVP. Oh wow. Um, huh. Right. I'm gonna flip a coin for this because I genuinely don't know what to do. So we're not gonna flip a dime here. We're gonna flip a quarter. All right, a quarter here. Heads, tails. And this is to pick between quarterback and wide receiver. Heads. For, or let's redo that. That was horrible. Heads is quarterback, tails is wide receiver. It is heads, so possibility of a quarterback, and now we pick between defense and quarterback. Heads is, or defense and coach. Heads is coach. Or that was a bad flick too. It is tails. So now we're picking between quarterback and defense. What do we get? We got heads. So we're taking Stafford. Okay. I wasn't going to complain about any of those outcomes, honestly. After that, we get the Browns. Go Harold Fannin. I think it's only one N in his name. No, two N's. We'll go Harold Fannin at our tight end. After that, please, Packers. I can go that. Le Fleur. We'll go LaFleur. Okay. Yeah, I'm not complaining so far. We'll go CMC. Now I just need a good O-line, a good defense, and a good wide receiver 2. The Ravens. What do we think here? O-line after they just added Vega, because they don't really have a wide receiver 2 or a wide receiver 1 for that matter. I don't want to really take or say Flowers or the defense. I feel like we could take the defense. And then you add Myles Garrett to that defense. They were really missing a pass rusher last year. So you give them the best pass rusher in the league. I think that works. And then the Bengals. Now we get our wide receiver 2. So I'm not complaining about that. Now we just need an O-line to bring everything together. Oh, please. Packers O-line. Right. Not horrible. Honestly, I am not going to complain about it. Honestly, when you consider the fact that I just flipped the coin for deciding who to take from the Rams, I'm not complaining with Jamar Chase at all. I think him and Puka are very comparable. I think Jamar is better. I might have a bias for Jamar there. The floor, definitely not McVay, but definitely not a scrub either. There are some questions about his playoff performances, though. And then the Ravens defense, not horrible. So, honestly, not bad. I'll take that. And now we get into final guessing game. We'll go. Who are we going for here? He's not a Portuguese in the Premier League. We'll go, and he's not a midfielder. We'll go. Rafinha. He's not a striker in La Liga. He's not Brazilian. We'll go. No. We'll go. Who the heck do I want to choose here? We'll go Bastoni. Serie A defender. It's not Italian. What are my other options here? Right. Who are these defenders in the Serie A? Oh wow, I can't. Huh. Well, it's not Inter, obviously. Milan defender. Why am I blanking on these players right now? We'll go Kalulu. No. Oh, this is an old guy. Not Juve. Who in the world is this? Serie A defender. Oh, but he's on Inter, so who is this, bro? This is an older guy. Who in the world is this, bro? I have no idea. There's this guy, right? There's no God, bro. Why is it giving me these random players, bro? Holy crud. This game causes me so much undue stress. Right. Final games. We're here on Hoopgo. We got Boogie. I'm gonna go 3. KD 2. Zebo there. Love will go 3. Siakam will go there. Bosch here. Rodman there. AK there. Rasheed Wallace and ew. Sabonis. Yuck. Oh, it was going so well until it wasn't. Right. Everyone has to get bumped up. KD, you go tier 1. Bosch, you share that with Rodman. We'll go Boogie, Love, and I want to say Pascal. Sabonis, you go tier 4. Then we'll go. We'll go. Who do I want to go? Oh, players drafted this decade. Asar will go. Oh, wow. Risa Shea, get out of here. Edie. When he's playing, Paolo there. Chet here. Harper. Too early yet. Cade. Kuminga will go last. Hallie there. And. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. That's perfect. Wemby obviously won. Paolo Cade. Hallie, Chet, Edie. That's perfect, bro. I am too good at this game. Jokic, obviously we're keeping. Same with KD. Zion, cutting. Same with Ben Simmons. Same with Sabonis. You scare me. Giannis, we're keeping. LeBron, we're keeping. And yeah. Dude, you can't tell me there's something wrong with that. 98. Legendary Goat Vision. Hey. After that, we'll do start bench cut. We'll do a couple of these. Oh my! I don't want to engage in these debates anymore. Miles Turner, you had a disgustingly bad season. Ayton clean. Dude, people don't realize how disgusting of a season Miles Turner had, bro. Kawhi, Scotty, Grant Hill, obvious. Okay. Huh. Wilt, Shaq, Jokic. Right. Go Shaq 1. I'll go like that. And then, how do I parse this? Because obviously, Cat is the best offensive player here. Gobert is the best defensive player here. And then it's just Mutombo. For that, it's just Mutombo. I'll put him there. I think Gobert's overall defense is better than Cat's offense. And I think this might mean my signals will stop. Jermaine O'Neal, Jalen Duren, and Lamar Odom. That's kind of blasphemous, but I'll stick with that. But yeah, that's my sign to stop right there. So yeah, that is the end of game time. And pretty much the end of the episode because I kind of talked about what's coming up next in terms of NBA schedule. Also, when I talked about the UFC. So that's pretty much everything that's happening. I also mentioned Champions League. Final is in 23 days, end of the month, May 30th. Tune in for that. Arsenal and PSG from Budapest. I personally have PSG winning that. I think they're by far the better team. Um, but other than that, yeah, that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I had a fun time. And I will see you guys next week. And oh, by the way, next week's episode will be coming out on Thursday night. It will not be coming out on Friday night like it normally is or has been. So Thursday night next week, and after that, we'll be going back to normal. So until then, peace.